Okay. My topic of the discussion is I have to present Zakat economy as an ultimate solution for our economic and social problems. For that, we have to discuss the current economic system so that we can challenge it and present Zakat as an alternate system, a divine solution for our problems. Currently, the present economics order is based on new liberalism and rentier capitalism. This system was adopted and resurfaced in 1980 when Margaret Thatcher and Reagan, on the one part of the Atlantic, on the other part, got elected. And according to them, government intervention is bad. They want lesser government intervention. As per Ronald Reagan, he said, okay, government is part of the problem, not the part of solution. And as a result, they want free market on the basis of global multinational companies. They want lesser taxes and lesser tariffs, so that during last Trump era, taxation on big companies has been reduced from 28% to 11 to 21%. So significant reduction in tariffs and taxes to basically promote the global companies. As per the classical economics, they want, which has been introduced by Adam Smith, all economies should be self-balancing activity. No one should be interfering in this activity. And therefore, they want lesser government intervention, and they want multinational companies on a globalized basis. Although this has been done on the basis of free market, but instead of protecting competition and protecting free market, they gave preference to property rights. And property rights, on the basis of property rights, physical, financial, and intellectual property rights, mostly these assets are getting monopoly rents. And they also ask for flexible labor market. During last 40 years, there is despite significant increase in productivity, labor market is stagnant, and the salaries even in Western countries has been stagnant for the last 40 years. And social solidarity institute, which have been introduced after World War II, there is a gradual degradation, and people are challenging why the social security scheme are available in the Western countries. And central banks have been strengthened. So all this rentier capitalism and new liberalism is giving too much power to global companies, to global rights. And I can give you one example. There are three types of asset. One is physical asset, real estate, which have been concentrated a lot, and financial asset, liberalization of financial markets, and intellectual assets. On the basis of intellectual asset, during last 20 years, registration and of intellectual asset patents and trademarks have been increased significantly. And on the basis of patents, you stop other people to basically compete. So it is in the name of the free market, it is in the name of the competition, but you are stopping other ones. And on the basis of property, these people, these companies, and these people are getting monopoly rents, and as a result, there is too much concentration of wealth on the top. During last in 1980, 1% top people are earning income of around 25%. This income has been increased from 25% to almost 50%. So there is too much concentration. I will give you an example. Oxfam reports on wealth concentration at the top. There are in 2010, there are 388 people who have as much wealth as bottom 50%. It means that 388 people have wealth of around 3 billion people. These people can fly in a plane. And in 7 years' time, in 2017, this number has been reduced from 388 to 42. Now these people can sit even in a bus. And I'm sure if this survey is done again, this number will be reduced from 15 to 20. So 42 people, have as much wealth as, bottom 50%. This is extreme concentration of wealth. It can be compared with 19th century's big monarchies, big agricultural land where, people have lots of land and other people are working on these lands. So it's extreme concentration as a result of new liberal policies, globalization, reduction in tariff, giving too much attention and too much power to multinational companies, lesser control of the governments, and the strengthening of the monetary authorities. This concentration has been possible. 1% of the richest people, around 70 million people. Presently, our population is 7 billion. 70 million people have wealth of over 95%. And more than 80% of the all growth in global wealth goes to the same 1%. And on the one side, there is too much wealth, too much production, too much concentration of wealth. And on the other side, there is extreme poverty. As per the World Bank, there are 650 million people who live below the poverty line. Previously, this number was higher, but after China, improvement, this number has been reduced. But it's still 650 million people. And it is almost around 10% of the population. So these people are not, available, not present only in African province. Almost 10%, 10 to 15% people are living below the poverty line in the most advanced industrial country, USA. So on the one side, there is extreme concentration of wealth. On the one side, there is extreme, wealth, production and everything. And on the other side, there is extreme poverty. And Pakistan has, I will give particular attention to Pakistan. Pakistan, as a poor country, has much more poverty. One third of the Pakistanis, almost 70 to 80 million people are living below the poverty line. It means that every third person is, and what is the meaning of below the poverty line? It means that these people don't have food for 3 meals. These people are often hungry, suffer from poor health due to bad health facilities. They cannot give, proper education to their children. They don't have proper access to clean water. Mostly people are homeless. And on top of that, there is no opportunity of upward social mobility. It means that in America and US, maybe next generation can go on upward. But in Pakistan, when you are not giving any education, any health facilities to the children of these people, there is no hope for the next generation. These people are, living a life of inhuman life, and it's very difficult for them to, to compete, to live in this world. As a result, our society, have few characteristics which I want to present because we have already discussed about the economic point of view. But I also want to discuss the social aspects. As I have discussed, there is a terrifying level of poverty and wealth inequality, too much concentration. In 21st century, we are competing with the monarchies. And secondly, there is extreme chronic insecurity. People feel insecure. Even those people who are not living in the poverty line, even those people are feeling insecure. They think any one mistake, any one event can throw them into the roads. There is a fear of redundancy due to automation and technological changes. And because of that, they cannot work up to their potential. So extreme insecurity for those people, even who are above the poverty line. And thirdly, there is a very high debt. In America, almost private debt is equal to 150% of the GDP. Everyone, before 1980, mostly people have their own houses. But now, everyone has sold out. Many people have sold out their houses and they are, living in a mortgage. So their equity is less and their debt is high. In case of any problem, any job loss, they will be in trouble, extreme trouble. And because of these 3 things, extreme poverty, chronic insecurity, and extreme debt level, these people are living a life of stress, in extreme stress. Underperformance in the workplace, as per the survey, the most important and for most reason is stress. Domestic violence reason is again stress. So this is, producing psychological and health issues in these people, those people who are living poverty line and above them. Same position, same situation is facing stress, debt, and insecurity. And these people are, leading a life of precarity, living as supplicants, asking for favor, not a dignified life, losing civil and other rights. And there are 2 types of people. One is, who have no hope. One third of the Pakistani people who are living in the poverty line, they don't have any hope for improvement of their life. And the other half is basically feeling very much anger against the society, against the economy. And as a result, they can go to the populist politics. It's bad politics. You know, these people, for example, we can take example of Trump, who said that other people, for example, immigrants, Muslim, they are, taking our rights. So populist politics means other are taking our are the responsible of this thing. And it's a bad politics because it is creating economical and social problems in our society. So we are in extreme, bad situation. People are working like machine. Working hour has been increased in 1970-80. Working hours in America and Europe, in America particularly, less. Working hour have increased. Women are working, and they have already sold out. Many people sold out their houses, and they are living on mortgage, and still they are feeling difficult life. This is the situation for those countries, even who are living, who are industrial and rich countries. So we have a solution, but we are not able to present before the world. The solution of economic, social, and other problem of society is implementation of zakat in its true sense. In economic sense, for example, in Pakistan, if one third of the population is below the poverty line, if they will not purchase things, they don't have money to purchase services, use goods. Pakistan cannot progress. But we are discussing about our GDP, 4% GDP. This our opposition is saying 4% is our GDP is less than 4%. But our GDP is 35%. One third of the GDP is deficient because these people are not able to purchase anything. When they cannot purchase, when they are not able to purchase, how producer can produce? And our GDP therefore is deficient. Socially, we are a very unstable society. We can take an example of a family in which one of three members don't have money to basically eat. His family is in a difficult condition, and other two members of the family are not helping him. We will definitely term them as we will say them. It's an unstable family. So our society in an unstable thing, an unstable society. Thirdly, if we see this problem from moral point of view, it is most important problem. We are discussing on a very, minor issues about moon sighting, about other things. But the most important thing in front of us, for which we'll be asked in the hereafter, is one third of the people, our brothers, are living a miserable life, a human life, and we are not able to, we are not doing anything for them. According as zakat system, what is zakat system? Zakat system, in the zakat system, the most important thing is that the state will take the responsibility of meeting basic need of all of its citizens. I can take care of one or two. You can take care of 4 or 5. But the state is in a position to take care of all citizens, as said by Hazrat Umar, every person, if a person dies because of hunger, it's responsibility on the caliph. How? Because he is responsible for implementing a system of zakat. Zakat must and always be a state-run program to ensure its true benefits. I will give you some details. This issue resolved by Allah Almighty Himself in the wording. Those who, if we give them power in the land, they establish a salat and pay al zakat and enjoy good deeds. The state role in the collection and distribution of zakat is best supported by the verse that mentions the workers of zakat as one of the categories to whom zakat is distributed. God says, out of their wealth, take a sadaqah, so you might purify and sanctify them. Take is addressed to Prophet as head of Islamic state to the extent that when Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq succeeded the Prophet as head of his state, he continued using state authority and its law enforcement to collect and distribute zakat. When after the Risal al Nabi Kareem Sallam, many tribes refused to pay zakat. They said, okay, we are not going to zakat, or either we will spend this in our own tribe. And Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq said, you cannot differentiate between namaz and zakat. We will fight if you are not giving the same amount of zakat which you are used to be giving in the life of the Prophet. So it is very clear that this is the responsibility of the state. Why is this a responsibility? There are 2-3 reasons. One, there are many people who have no conscience to pay the zakat. particularly those people who have so much wealth. There are people who have, billion and billion of rupees. Only the state can take their share. If if it is zakat is not a personal charity program, it's basically a organized institution in which a government has to take the amount from every rich person and give it to the poor person. If a state is not doing that, then it will be, the right of the poor will not be we will not be able to provide the right to him. Secondly, if a state can take the responsibility of everyone, individual can take the responsibility only on few, but the state is the responsible for every citizen. Thirdly, Islam is not only a religion, it's a state. So if you want to publish and publicize Islamic teaching, zakat is always a state-run program. What is the zakat product? An equitable, social, coherent society and a sustainable and economic growth model. For this objective, we'll get support from all type of people, whether they are religious, because in our opinion, this is the most important religious duty on us. If we want to, to be successful in the hereafter, we have to take care of these people and we work for the implementation of zakat. Nationalist people who want Pakistan to be a progressive country, Pakistan cannot progress unless and until these 1/3 people who don't have any education facilities and other food facilities, unless and until these people are given these things, Pakistan cannot progress. And in economy, there are two types of economists. One is progressive, who thinks a social institution should be established, and there are other people, other school of thought, free market supporter. In their opinion, instead of government intervention, only free market should be working in its own. And even those people are of the view. For example, I will give you an example of Milton Friedman, who is basically heading the free market supporter. Those people are of the view that basic needs of people should be met by the state. Maybe by giving money to him instead of providing state-run institutes. But for that, we can get support from everywhere. Now I will give you, I will come to the discussion on the zakat economic impact. First of all, zakat is the stimulus of GDP growth, investment, and employment. This is the most important, economic indicator. Before 1960, the GDP is now considered the most important economic indicator. Before 1960, this is not, it was not the case, but the employment was discussed so much. Then, a prominent economist, Evans, has given his law. According to him, there's a significant, significant relationship between GDP and employment. In case of 3% increase in GDP, 1% employment will increase. After that, we are focusing for the last 30, 40 years, we are focusing on GDP, although it is initially came into focus as a relationship to employment. So zakat, why zakat is very much, conducive for GDP growth. And basically, GDP growth is dependent on aggregate demand. This theory was given by Lord Keynes, which is considered father of modern economics. According to him, if people purchase things, then the producer will produce. So purchases or the aggregate demand should be strengthened. And there are three parts of the demand. One is the people who are consumers, they are purchasing things. The other one is firms who are basically investing in capital asset. The third one is government. And according to him, in case of any depression, when the consumers are not purchasing, then government has to intervene and government has to spend. But the most important part of the aggregate demand is consumers. Almost 70% of the aggregate demand consists on consumers' purchases. And we know the marginal propensity to consume is far higher in case of poor than the rich person. If I give 100,000 rupees to a rich person, maybe he will save 80,000 rupees, but poor will spend everything. So when he spend things, then producer will produce, they will give employment. So the GDP will increase and the employment will increase. Secondly, when these investment in the capital goods, we know if presently Pakistanis and other people are investing things which are non-productive. For example, in Pakistan, there is a tendency that people are investing in plots. But when people know that every year they have to pay 2.5%, then they will invest on producing things. so that they can, compensate zakat payment. Instead of, investing in non-productive asset, they will invest in production asset. Thirdly, zakat is basically when you spend on the aggregate demand and skill building, it will eliminate both cyclical and structural unemployment. In case of depression, when you spend, poor people will purchase. We know that in the corona time, mostly companies are given money to their people, and this money is not important for those people. This is critical for them, but it is also important for their economy. Their economy cannot run without giving this money, because if 20, 25, 30% people will not purchase, it's very difficult to run the economy. So the cyclical unemployment will be eliminated by zakat. And structural unemployment, which is the difference between the demand skill demanded by the firms and skill possessed by the people. If you spend on the skill building, then this structural unemployment will be eliminated. So the most important economic indicator, GDP, investment, zakat has a very, very far-reaching impact on these things. GDP will be at optimal level. When GDP will be at optimal level through aggregate demand, investor will invest, and employment will be increased at an optimal level. The second most important thing is which we discussed is inflation. Inflation has gained traction in the modern economics in comparison to providing employment. Previously, normally it is considered that inflation and employment are two inversely proportional things. If you want to eliminate the unemployment, inflation is bound to increase, because when you give people 15-20% people who are unemployed, then there is more money, their demand will be high, inflation will be high. But we are discussing too much, because after Second World War, there is too much discussion on the inflation, and inflation rate maybe 100 in some countries very high. But we need to know that employment is much more important than the inflation. Generally, economists are not in favor of government intervention in terms of price control. Why? Because if you control the prices, it will reduce the signals which are given by the producer. In case of higher price, new producer will come in and they step in, they invest, and the price will ultimately settle in. In case of if you control the price, then these signals cannot go to the market forces. So economists generally are not in favor of controlling price control. In case of hoarding, definitely government can intervene, but not in case of in normal circumstances. The Holy Prophet also prohibited price fixation. Some people came to Medina before the Holy Prophet and asked them, the price have shoot up, please, fix the prices for us. Holy Prophet said, Allah, fixes the prices. He sometimes give more, sometimes less. And I don't want to go in front of the Lord because someone has claim against me. So price control is not a panacea. Zakat help poor to meet their essential need, even in an inflationary environment. How? There is one type of zakat, which is ushar, which is applicable on the production of asset. Historically, it is an agriculture asset, but new, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi and the modern people who are working on zakat, they think the same thing is applicable on industrial asset. 5% of the amount is dedicated to the poor people. So even in case of inflationary environment, people will get more. So zakat basically is giving money from the top to the bottom. In that case, zakat is meeting the demand of the poor people. Without any, okay, now we can come, time is short. Economic instability. Economic instability is very common in the Western world, in the modern world. Inequality and concentration of wealth breeds social and financial instability. We know that when there is extreme concentration of wealth, inequality, financial instability bound to come. Booms create bubbles in asset prices, leading ultimately to financial collapse. We have seen in the modern world. Zakat restricts very high level of inequality by transferring money from top to bottom and concentration of wealth. Zakat on wealth limits the bubble in asset prices. If we know that if we made applicable 2.5% price zakat on plots, then plot prices immediately will go down by 25%. And people, these prices will not be, if people know, okay, we don't need to give anything, then these prices will be skyrocketed. And we know that presently the real estate prices are too high. If normal people cannot purchase their own house. Profit greed by using high debt level also resulted in financial instability and collapse. Profit sharing business model compared to interest-based model restrict the high leverage and debt level. We know that high debt level will create instability, and debt repayments, debt can be tackled with the zakat. Recession must decrease aggregate demand. However, spending on welfare and basic need of poor people would increase their purchasing power and demand for essential goods, and hence stop economy to go further. Speculation is prohibited in Islam. Fourth is we have already discussed the poverty elimination and wealth circulation. It's zakat, the best form of tax. As per the, we have already mentioned Adam Smith, who is considered the founder of economics. He has given two or three basic characteristics of a good taxation: justice and equity. Okay, you have to take taxes on the basis of the capacity of the people, and zakat is taken from the rich and given to the poor people. Secondly, certainty and continuity. Every year we discuss, when the month of April comes, but new budget, we will discuss budget, new taxes will be imposed, new rates will be applicable. Every year there is a change. This is, very bad for the economy. And zakat and ushur has been applicable for the last 1400 years. So this is the most certain and most continuous, tax. So from characteristics which have been given by the modern economist Adam Smith, this zakat is the best form of the taxation. And first ever system of social security and welfare. The Western world think after World War II, there is an Atlantic Treaty between UK and America, and at that time, social security institutes were introduced. But this institute in Islam was introduced almost 1400 years back, and it had been applicable for many hundred years. But now we are not, presenting it as a panacea to our problems. Now I will give you briefly discuss. I have spent my most of the time, but I will give you briefly discuss the solution with the figures for Pakistani environment. If we made applicable 2.5% tax on wealth, it has a potential of over 2,500 billion rupees. It is almost 10 times higher than the individual taxation. Because in Pakistan, mostly tax is paid by the big company. It's 85 to 90%. And this amount is more than 10 times of the Asas program. So with this amount, we can give every poor family around over 200,000 rupees. And this huge amount will revolutionize their lives and eliminate the poverty in few years. So this is so huge impact. It's a policy choice. If there are 33% people who are not able to meet their needs, it's a policy choice for us. Otherwise, if we have properly applicable zakat may be poverty may be eliminated. We have already heard the waqia of Hazrat Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Nabi Kareem Sallam sent him to one place, and after 3 years there was no person who is there to take the zakat. Secondly, we want ushur. Ushur is a type of zakat which is applicable on producing asset. There are three types of assets. One is personal asset on which there is no zakat. There is other assets which are there for growth. Zakat, another meaning of zakat is growth. And the third type of asset which are producing, for example, agriculture assets, industrial assets, 5% ushur is applicable. It is far simpler system than our current GST. In Pakistan, we have a GST with 17%, but the effective collection of the government is just 4.25%. So if we made applicable, and the compliance cost is huge in Pakistan for GST, input output adjustment, other complexities, other problem. If we replace sales tax with 5% ushur, we in Pakistan total GDP is around 47 trillion rupees. So we can get 2.3 trillion rupees from this ushur. And most importantly, this amount will go to the poor for meeting the poor needs. Presently, 60% of Pakistan tax is going on interest. So instead of spending on a bad thing, we are collecting in a very difficult manner. But now we are presently spending 60% of the amount on interest. So this amount will go to the poor, meeting the needs of the poor people. Thirdly, Islam wants to eliminate the interest rate. presently, I mean, three big markets, America, Europe, and Japan, have almost, using a policy of zero interest rate. Before Corona, American interest rate is 1.5%. Now it's been reduced to 0.25. In Scandinavia, it is -1%. So it's not a strange thing. And if we made applicable zero interest rate with zakat, then it will not concentrate in wealth. In Western countries, it will concentrate wealth because mostly big companies are taking money with 1 or 2% interest rate, and they are making too much profit. It is concentrating wealth. But when you made applicable zakat with the elimination of interest zero rate, Pakistani government can save more than presently 60% of the money is going to interest, more than 2,000 billion rupees. So any loss from the sale tax can be met with the reduction or elimination of interest rate. And it is not a difficult. It is in the Quran ke zakat will basically increase growth, barakat, and sadaqah is eliminate the barakat. It is mentioned in 1400 years back, but now in the present situation, it is proved because all big countries have reduced their interest rate to grow their economy, and they are paying to their poor people so that the economy can run. So this is the program, and I think I have completed my time. If you have any question, you may ask. I have some recommendation to implement it, but time is over. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you very much, sir. It was very interesting presentation, especially for the case of Pakistan, where you provided some facts and figures how poverty can be tackled and how the Islamic models are applicable. So we are very grateful for your knowledgeable presence. I would like to invite Dr. Talat Hussain to moderate any questioning answering session and then conclude this session for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noman. And once again, I thank to our respected guest speaker, Mr. Kanit Khalilullah Saab, and he gave a very brief and presentation about the zakat and especially the health issues that what happened, especially in the death pandemic in Pakistan. Okay, dear participants, if you'll have any question from our respected guest speaker, so you may ask now. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Ji, and our respected Professor Dr. Mujahid Kamran sir, please.
Khalilullah Saab, I just want to know that the zakat, when you take zakat at 2.5%, what will be the status of these income taxes and other things that we pay? Will they have to go away?
In my opinion, although it can be discussed because in the modern state we are taking the responsibility of many more things. For example, if there is a posh place, government has to construct the roads and other thing in that place, and it is but in my opinion, in Pakistan, individual taxation, I will give you two examples. Individual taxation number is around 250 to 60 billion rupees. One half is given by the salaried class and the other half is given by the business class. And the 80%, it's just 15-20% of the total tax. 80% is given by the corporation on which zakat is not applicable. And these corporations are multinational companies, so you have to take care with them with the international laws, and it is not prohibited. I'm saying that if we eliminate individual taxation and made applicable zakat in place of that, we can get 10 times more money, because in Pakistan GDP is total GDP is around 47 trillion and wealth to GDP ratio is generally 4 to 5. So if we take a cautious view, around 200 trillion Pakistan wealth, and we know in the capitalist society 90% of the wealth is in the hands of the 10% people. So easily we can obtain 2,500 billion rupees, which is sufficient to give every poor family. There are 1 crore or 10 million poor families in Pakistan, and every family can get more than 200,000 rupees. It is, if we spend this money, if we just give this money to them, economy will run. Why? Because these 35% people are not, spending, and therefore our GDP is deficient. So I'm of the view, one thing is that instead of individual taxation, the zakat should be applicable. And secondly, our very complicated type of sales tax, which is, input, output, which we have copied when I was in Ferguson, I think 20 years back. At the time, the government copied this sales tax system from the New Zealand. And still it is not, we are not able to, there is so much loopholes, input, output, compliance cost is very high. And Islam has given a very straight system. 5% ushar should be applicable on all production. It is all ulama have agreed on agriculture. But people who are Jadid ulmas, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, I will give the example, who is the most prominent alim in the present world. He thinks, he's of the opinion, and other people are favoring them. On industrial production, the same thing is applicable, and the service production, same thing is applicable. So if we give 5% to them, the most important thing there, presently this amount is going to interest. Pakistani government is paying almost 60% of the taxes in interest amount. And our debt is not as high as industry as advanced countries. Our debt is around 85% of the GDP, and European countries average debt is 125%. But since their interest is zero, they are paying just 2-3% of their taxes. We are paying 60% of the taxes, and we are basically encouraging rent seekers who are sitting and investing in the banks and other places, and big banks give this amount to the government, and government pay interest. So instead of if we reduce the interest rate gradually or significantly to zero level, it is not a bad thing. We are discussing too much on Islamic banking. Although in my opinion, instead of focusing on Islamic banking, we should ask a zero interest rate. It is not. It is applicable across the world. America, Europe, Japan, and even our neighboring countries, India has 2-3% interest rate. Why can't we? And if it is mentioned in the Quran, it is hurting growth, then it is hurting growth. So on the one side, we made applicable zero interest rate. On the other side, all assets, excluding personal asset, should be zakatable. So in my opinion, corporation should run as they are, but there are two things should be replaced. One is individual. In Malaysia, I have heard in Malaysia, taxation, if for example, there is 50 rupees zakat and 100 rupees tax, then you will have to pay just 50 rupees. So this is the possibility zakat payment can be adjusted on income, or it is possible all across individual taxation should be eliminated. But in Pakistan, individuals are paying taxes just 15%. In America, almost 60%. So we can replace altogether individual taxation, or we can give a state reduction of zakat payment with the taxation. So there are two options, but I'm more concerned about it should be applicable at the government level. Otherwise, those people who are very wealthy, we can give the example of wealthy people who have 500 billion, 600 billion worth. No, it's very difficult for them to pay accurately as per zakat. They will take some fatwa, some other things, and try to. And in this case, the right of the poor and the poverty will prevail. So in my opinion, instead of individual taxation, we can easily replace zakat, and then we can use every one of us submits wealth tax. If we ask them to in wealth tax, market prices will be given. Then the present system can be used for the collection of zakat. And Asas program, the government, in my opinion, 90% of the money is giving rightly. So we can use for the distribution. We can use blockchain, other things. So various things are available. For collection, we have the most important asset is cash, which is everyone has the CNIC. So FBR has a record for that. Plots. Second, real estate, which is almost 60% of the total wealth. It's very difficult for a person to conceal the plot. So if zakat is applicable, if there is a will, I think it's very easy to implement it.
Thank you, sir. Jazakallah khair.